Hello, good evening, every single one. So for those who are online, very good evening and welcome to our session tonight where we have Tiger Broker together with B for the session whereby we're going to dive into Metaverse series part 1. So for those who are watching on Tiger Broker's platform, welcome, right? Hello, good evening. And also for those who are watching on YouTube, hello as well, very good evening. I hope you guys have a nice day. And today, right, for the next 45 minutes and 1 hour, right, we're gonna dive into what's Metaverse and also what are the areas that we can look into as an investor, right, for Metaverse. Right, so to kickstart the session proper, so first of all, thank you very much. Thank you, Tiger Broker, for giving the opportunity, right, for inviting B, especially from the B College site, whereby we're gonna have a sharing session together with all of you, right, regarding this particular subject. And this particular subject, and a lot of people are actually discussing about this out there, but I believe there are still a lot of people still looking for, what's actually Metaverse. So today we're gonna dive into, right, and that's what we're gonna look into today. Now, before we start off the session and dive into the content, right, so allow me just a few minutes to introduce myself, right? So my name is Richie. Hello everyone again, right? Welcome to our session. Me myself is actually a trainer and also a speaker from B College, right? So for me myself also, I'm a value growth and also option investor in the industry, right? So also I'd like to introduce to the crowd, whereby the platform that I'm serving to our community over here, right, is called V, whereby we are actually a listed entity as well in Australian Stock Exchange. And we are actually as an entity where we drive financial, education, and also technology together in one ecosystem, right? So with our company, we actually established in 2008, whereby we have offices around different regions. We are actually headquartered in Singapore, and then we have Malaysia, Shanghai, Taiwan, and the other places as well. So with that, we actually, with the community, with the team, we are actually supporting the community of value investors globally, right? And ourselves, right, on the company itself, we also develop a technology platform where we call a VApp, right? So for VApp, we actually help the investors out there to summarize or break down financial numbers and also the company's progress, and also a community platform where investors can discuss about different thoughts on different investments perspective. And also VApp is one of the platform where we gathered financial advisors license from MAS Singapore. Okay, so we also step our foot into different cities across different regions, whereby now we have stepped our foot onto 29 cities around the world, where with different languages, right, to help investors out there to gain the proper knowledge of value investing and to get their lives better, right? Okay, so with that, let's start off the session right now properly, right, with the agenda, whereby today I'm going to share with you what is not the Metaverse. So before we look into what's Metaverse, right, we also have to clear up some misconception whereby people thought, hey, this kind of things, is it actually a Metaverse, right? And we're going to look into that. And also building the Metaverse, what we need, or what are the elements that we need on building a Metaverse, right? And also the layers of Metaverse that you can look into, right, dissect them. And today, right, for part 1 series, where we're going to focus really into the creator economy and also the spatial computing, right? So that's generally going to cover the sharing of my sharing tonight. And at the end of the session, I also prepared a special gift for all of you online. So for those of you who are still online, right, make sure that you stay tuned to the end, right? Okay, so first of all, very important disclaimer, whereby the sharing today, right, is coming from an education purposes, whereby in between, right, I will also touch on a few listed companies who are actually actively involved in the Metaverse and also the development of Metaverse. But anyhow, there's just education purposes, where today I'm going to share with you about Metaverse, but there's not a recommendation to buy or sell any form of asset. Okay, so with that, let's move on. let's start off with the definition of metaverse, whereby this gentleman, right, Matthew Ball, who is the founder of Roundhill Ball Metaverse ETF, right? He himself defined metaverse as a massively scaled and interoperable, right, network of real-time rendered 3D virtual worlds, which can be experienced synchronously, right, with persistently by an effectively unlimited numbers of. There are actually a mouthful of words about the definition, but do not worry, right? Later on, we're gonna break down into bite-sized pieces, whereby we're gonna relate more into our daily life, reality life, and understand from that point of view. We understand what is the metaverse. Okay, so let's define what is not the metaverse first, right? A lot of people think that, when I wear a VR goggle or AR goggle, is that what I call the metaverse, right? So metaverse is actually not made up of any single pieces of equipment or any single piece of social platform per se, right? For example, when you put on a goggle glass, right, or VR, AR goggle glass, it's not actually the whole metaverse, right? It's just a part and pieces of metaverse itself, right? And also some of the social platforms, right? When you're logging into social platform, regardless it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these social platforms alone, right, it does not represent a metaverse. Same goes to gaming platform, like for example, Roblox, right? And these are all actually just elements of a metaverse itself, right? And also there are different types of 3D engine whereby they design or help to develop this kind of games, right? And these are also the elements or the material or the tools that require, right, to build a metaverse. So metaverse itself is actually way bigger than what we see on the individual perspective. Okay, and metaverse is also not a specific crypto token whereby a lot of people say that, oh, Bitcoin or Ethereum, Ether, all these are actually just the metaverse, right? But actually just part of it. Okay, so move on next, right? Let's talk about, put it a bit closer to our real life, where now let's discuss about building a shopping mall or building a physical property, for example, right? So when we are building a property or when we are building a shopping mall, right, we need the exterior design, we need the constructions, we need the interior design, furnishing and all that, right? So we actually need a lot of resources, right? For example, the cranes, the excavators, the workers, and also the designers, and some of the tools, materials that we need to, put in place in order for this shopping mall to be present, okay, and for utility. Okay, so why do we actually talk about building a shopping mall, right? Why? When we talk about shopping mall and when we go into a shopping mall, right, what do we usually do? Right, for example, when you go into a shopping mall, we're probably looking for goods and services, right? And then we want to purchase certain things, or we want to have some service. For example, in the fashion retail, right, whereby we can actually shop for goods, and also sometimes we search for services. Like for example, you go for makan places, right? And then sometimes you go for salon, right? You sometimes go for doing your optics, or manicure, pedicure, all these kind of services which are available in the shopping mall, right? Apart from that, we're also looking into leisures or entertainment that available in the shopping mall. Like for example, when you walk into the shopping mall, you probably want to look for a cinema, right? And some people walk into the shopping mall because of the gym is located there, right? And there are also some of the shopping malls where have different facilities, different entertainment facilities. Like for example, a flow rider, where you can actually surf in a shopping mall. You can skate in a shopping mall. And even in Dubai, right? Dubai Mall, there's this Dubai ski, whereby you literally can ski inside a mall, right? It's just like you're skiing in Switzerland, right? That's crazy, okay? So there are actually a lot of things that you can do in the reality shopping mall, real life shopping mall, right? And all this, right, we call it as an experience. So we actually want to experience certain things. We actually want to purchase something, right? Whereby that's the experience that we are looking for in real life, in regardless and anywhere, right? And in order for us to enjoy that experience, right, we actually need to fork out money, right? There's this monetary transaction whereby payment solutions are actually required as well, part of the pieces. Okay, so moving forward, let's not talk about shopping mall alone, but we also talk about building a theme park, for example. Okay, in real life, let's say, for example, we are building a theme park where you also need all this heavy work material, right? Whereby once the theme park is built, regardless it's Disneyland or Universal Studio or Legoland, for example. Okay, so all these theme parks why people are actually going there, right? Spending their time there, spending their money over there. They are actually finding this thing called experience, right? And later on, I'll relate to the metaverse why experience is so important, right? In terms of understanding the metaverse and how can we actually tap into as an investor point of view, right? So when we are actually in a theme park, right? So there are a lot of things, again, that we can do. Like, for example, we spend our money buying merchandises, okay, in Disneyland, for example. Or we actually, enjoy ourselves with the food, some special cuisine in the theme park. Or sometimes we pay our, a few nights in accommodation in the theme park as well. No, none other than that, we also enjoy the entertainment facility, whereby there are a lot of different rides available in different various theme parks, right? So all this actually require payments as well. And not sure whether you know, Disneyland, they are actually making more money, right, when we are inside the theme park rather than earning money from our admission ticket. Okay, that's the fact. Huh? So that's the reason why payment solutions in this kind of facility, this kind of environment is very, very important. All right. And then now let's talk about building a metaverse. Now, what is it different between building a metaverse and also, say, building shopping malls, building a theme park, right? So when we are building a physical property, right, we probably need bricks, we need tools, we need workers, whereby these developers, right, for example, the developers in Malaysia, right, Gamuda, YTL, IGM, so on and so forth, whereby they pull in resources, right, to build out the physical property for consumers or businesses to utilize, right? But for metaverse, it's none other different than just like building a physical property, a real estate, right? But at the same time, we need certain tools or certain expertise, technology to actually build out this metaverse, so-called metaverse, right? So there are some of the examples in the space whereby investors can actually look into, right? For example, Unity, right, or NVIDIA, Autodesk, Metapod, Unreal Engine. So these are all the platforms or technology, right, that able or to facilitate the building of a metaverse, right? So metaverse itself actually stands up with different elements. Just like imagine you walk into a shopping mall, or imagine that you walk into a theme park, right? There are different elements, there are different merchandisers, right? Different sports, different payment solutions, and that actually allows consumers or users to actually feel that experience, go through that experience, right? So that's not other different when we are in the metaverse. Okay, so in the metaverse, we actually can perform or things or experience those kinds of things that we want in a digital world. Okay, so when we talk about metaverse and why we want to go into the metaverse and why metaverse is getting more and more hotly discussed especially among the younger generation, right? And they actually and you notice some people might notice, right? Those younger generations, niece and nephew, even your children, okay, they are actually started to go into this kind of space whereby they actually enjoy this kind of space as well, right? They probably spend more time on the screen, right, in the metaverse rather than spending time with you. Okay, so that's the fact, right? But why do they like to be in the metaverse, right? So in the metaverse, I just put it in the perspective where the example that I shared earlier on, right? In the shopping mall or in a theme park, right? There are also different kinds of elements which are similar, right? For example, in the metaverse, we can actually purchase digital assets, right, in the form of NFTs and so on and so forth, whereby you're able to perform transactions, okay, to purchase assets, which is in digital form. Okay, like for example, in a platform of OpenSea, Super Rare, and all these kind of things, right? And in the metaverse as well, we are also able to access to services like, for example, decentralized finance. Okay, like for example, you're just walking into a bank and do transactions, right? Probably you are applying a loan or whatever it is, right? Or whatever procedures that you want to do. Right? But in metaverse itself, right, we are also able to perform these kind of transactions. Like for example, Compound. Okay, Compound is where a platform, right, decentralized platform where it enable users, right, to lend out their own asset, okay, and earn interest. And this is kind of disruptive, whereby usually, right, the authority or the right to lend out asset, right, and earn interest are held by all those central authority. But in the metaverse itself, right, usual people like you and me were able to do that as well. Okay, and there are also other services, like for example, you're able to hold a wallet, right, where that wallet actually keep the keys that you can access to your digital assets. Okay, that's just a few examples that I put up. Okay, apart from that, metaverse also able to enjoy, right, leisure, entertainment, so on and so forth, right? For example, games are the most common channel where people go into the metaverse. Okay, and you will see a lot of how to say, platforms are starting with, you know, gamifying the platform, you know, make the user experience like playing a game, right? And that actually increase the immersiveness and also you know, the participation in the metaverse itself, right? Like for example, XC, like for example, Decentraland, whereby you're able to own a piece of virtual land, okay, and you so-called build your shopping mall, you so-called build your theme park on Decentraland, okay, and all this, right, we actually require how to say, economy transaction, whereby there are people in there, right? They'll actually have economical transactions, whereby payment solutions are also needed in the metaverse itself. Okay, so for example, like Bitcoin, like Wire, like Bancor. So all these are actually the platforms or the tools that enable users that in the metaverse, right, to perform payment transactions. Okay, right, to purchase digital assets or to use that particular method, right, to go through or to use services that they require. Okay, so when we talk about metaverse and what does a metaverse do, right? So metaverse is actually a next generation internet, or a lot of people call them Web 3.0, right? So Web 3.0 that actually enables a lot of creators, right, creative people, to deliver connected or immersive experiences based on the environment and also the activities that they can think of, right? For example, it's just like in the picture here, right, whereby you're walking into, you just imagine you're walking into a metaverse mall, okay, whereby you see billboards of you know, advertisements, right, whereby you can actually go into different venues, right, and look for different types of activities, right? And there are also different types of immersive content whereby those are actually created by people, normal people like you and me, myself, right? So all of us are able to, you know, contribute or to create certain things that put in a metaverse and let other people to consume. Okay, so we actually can be in there, right? Share experience, you know, tell stories, learn from each other. It's just like a similar way of learning where currently you are located at wherever you are, okay, looking through the screen and learning from each other, right? So this is actually part of the metaverse, but not the, how to say, the full picture or the complete version of metaverse yet. So when you are actually learning from through the screen, it's actually a 2D, but it's through digital form. So there's actually touching part of the metaverse already, right? It's just that we are not aware. Okay, so they're actually the third place where a common area where people from around the world, you might not know who is he or she or where is he or she from, right? But you are able to interact with each other, right? Exchange ideas, do different things in the metaverse itself. Okay, so that actually creates or open up a lot more creative space or opportunity potential, right, in this particular space itself. So for those of you who want to get a more clearer idea or how to say a more real life example, right, understanding the metaverse, right, there are actually a few movies whereby you can actually refer to, okay, where they actually touch on the elements of metaverse, right, which is the most famous one is Ready Player One, right? So through this kind of movies, you see they are very in terms of advanced technology elements in their movie, right? And that actually contributes or that actually represents certain form or certain element in the metaverse itself. Like for example, Spider-Man, Far From Home as well, like Free Guy, and then Black Mirror, Iron Man 3, okay, Matrix, so all these, even though these movies are actually out there for certain years already, but they actually started to implant, the element of metaverse without us knowing, okay? And then the other one, which I think is very worth watching, okay, is this called Ralph Breaks the Internet, whereby that actually demonstrate or tell us in terms of how a metaverse should look like. Okay, so for those who haven't watched this particular movie, I strongly recommend you watch this, and you get a sense or better idea in visual form, right, whereby how actually metaverse will work, right, and what are the potential or what are the possibility things, services, or those possibilities that we can see from a metaverse. Okay, and apart from that, the one that is very, very significant, right, is Iron Man, whereby, as we all know, Iron Man is very futuristic, right? Apart from him being very rich, okay, right? He himself also, with his technology that he has, right, is actually part of the metaverse as well, right? Whereby he himself not only able to see holographs around him, right? He also able to rely on the personal assistants or the computer per se, right, to solve a lot of things, right, to get a lot of things done, right? So he himself actually using a lot of element or portraying a lot of elements in the metaverse or the potential of metaverse that we're gonna see in the future or even now, right? So just like I remember there's one scene whereby he is actually replaying, okay, a crime scene, right, just in his office, right, through hologram, and then he able to analyze that crime scene and solve that particular issue over there. So that's the potential of a metaverse in the future as well, whereby probably a lot of things, right, you don't have to be there, right, but you are able to perform the task just like you are there. Okay, so that's the potential of metaverse over there. Now, when we talk about understanding the metaverse, there are different definitions, of course, right? And many people think metaverse is actually a 3D space that actually surrounding us. So a lot of things that we see through the screen are actually 2D, but the moment where we put on the glasses or the moment where we put on the goggle, right, we see 3D things, right? For example, augmented reality. Okay, so you think that you are actually in the metaverse, right? And that's right as well. That's right as well, because metaverse is not only 3D or 2D, or even not even necessarily be graphical, right? Because the most important element of calling it a metaverse is about dematerialization. Okay, dematerialization. Okay, because dematerialization of the physical space, the distance, and objects that we can see, we can touch, we can feel, right? When you convert all these physical things, right, say physical properties onto a digital form, that's what we call dematerialization. So when you are able to dematerialize, okay, you are actually entering into a metaverse as well, right? So dematerialization of metaverse, right, is just like how to say, when you change certain form of way of living, or a certain form of spending, or a certain form of doing things, right, onto a digital form, right? It's just like when we talk about the very basic element whereby every single object, right, made up of a lot of atoms and elements, right? But in the digital world, right, atoms are actually represented as binary code. Okay, so for those who are probably in the IT, you probably know, you are well known about this, whereby all the codes or the pictures or the image, the video, the sound that you hear from your PC, from your mobile phone, from your digital devices, right? They're actually made up of a bunch of binary codes, zeros and ones, whereby they construct or arrange in a certain form, okay, that performs certain tasks that you actually request or require. It's just like when you're typing, okay, or when you're touching your screen on your phone, okay, for example, you're launching the Facebook app. The moment you touch on the Facebook icon, right, there are actually a lot of code running behind which we do not see, okay, in order for that app to open in front of our face, right, and let you do the things that you want to do, right? So same thing, when we apply into real life as well, it's just like, for example, when you look into a retail store, okay, so when you go into a retail store, shop for goods, shop for example, clothes, right, you're able to see them, you're able to feel them, you're able to test on them, right? So that's on the physical form. But how do we actually dematerialize them? Whereby a lot of e-commerce, right, especially after the pandemic actually boom, right? So a lot of shopping can be done digitally, right? So that's one of the things that dematerialization of the retail industry, right? In the entertainment or in the movie music industry, also the same, right? Whereby if those of you who still remember Speedy, okay, and those that usually appear in the shopping mall, but nowadays we don't see them anymore, right? So back then we actually want to consume entertainment, we kind of consume videos, music, we probably need to buy the physical tape, right, the disc, right, and all those kinds of things, physical stuff. But nowadays, when it get dematerialized, right, it changed into a digital form where the moment we switch on the TV or the moment we launch that particular app, we are able to consume the media, right? We consume the movie, the video, the music, right, through streaming. So this is actually part of metaverse already, right? Apart from that, healthcare as well, right? And also there are a lot of innovative companies that coming out with telehealth, whereby they change or they move healthcare services online in a digital form. Okay, so not only consultations, right, whereby they are actually online, incorporating with the advancement of different facility, different elements. Like for example, some of the how to say health equipment or medical equipment or fitness equipment, whereby you're able to track your oxygen level in your blood, right? Able to track your the heart rate, right? A lot of data has been collected from all these interfaces, right? Whereby when it get into a digital form, okay, through processing, analytics, they are able to actually perform the same service, which back then or now we have to do it physically, right? But in the future, right, we were able to do it virtually, right, in the metaverse itself. Okay, so there are also a lot of companies, like for example, those who are very, very familiar, okay, like Teladoc, Hims and Hers, and all these are actually into this kind of space, right? And not forgetting those who are in e-commerce, right? Those who are big ones, Amazon, Taobao, Shopify, Etsy, right? Shopee, Lazada, right? So a lot of companies are actually moving towards that direction without us aware, okay? But it's actually happening. Now, so when we look into metaverse itself, there's actually a very important element whereby we have to look into the layers of metaverse, whereby there are actually 7 layers of metaverse that we can look into, right? Because metaverse itself is very huge. It's actually a whole new world, entirely whole new world. I'm not sure whether you agree with me or not, but it's actually huge, tremendous, right? But they are actually built up from different levels, whereby we need to have infrastructure in order to power the metaverse, right? The entire infrastructure, the metaverse itself, right? We also need human interfaces whereby those hardwares that we are talking about, right? For example, mobile devices, right? Smart glasses, wearables, all these gestures, haptic sensors. So all these are actually the human interface, and there are a lot of companies, right, who are working a lot, putting into a lot of innovation and developing all these kind of interfaces in order, right, to bridge, right, the metaverse, which is the virtual part, the digital part, with real life physical part, right? So they're actually acting as a bridge in order to connect both worlds. Okay. Apart from that, the third layer, decentralization, whereby which is a lot of people talking about Web 3.0, right? Where a lot of things are actually decentralized, because nowadays a lot of things are being centralized, whereby you have the central bank, right? You have the central authority, you have the government to take care of things, right? But in the metaverse itself, there are actually no centralized govern bodies. Okay, so this is what we call decentralization. So in order to achieve decentralization, right, there are actually different factors that we need to enhance, right? For example, in the edge computing, right, AI technology, right? So all this, and also blockchain as well. Okay, so blockchain is one of the very important technology behind, right, powering the entire metaverse in order for metaverse to be truly decentralized. Okay, so what we're going to focus on into, right, today here is on the part one, whereby we're going to look into creator economy, right, as well as spatial computing. Okay, so creator economy is actually when we're talking about people who create things, right, design certain things, design certain service, and also assets, right, which able to generate economical value, right, in the metaverse itself. Okay, so spatial computing is what we call the engine, okay, or the engine behind that powers, all these transactions, all these activities going on. Okay, so later on we have more details in terms of these two elements, right? And also in the future, if we have chance, we can also explore into discovery, whereby just like social platforms, but it's in the metaverse, right? It's just like Facebook, Instagram, but it's decentralized. So that's the discovery phase, where the last is the experience, where when users enter into the metaverse, right, how do they feel? How can they actually experience, right, gain certain experience from this particular space itself, right? So when we discover, or when we dissect, right, the entire market into the metaverse market into 7 different layers, right, there are actually a lot of companies who are actually involved in certain areas or certain layers. Okay, and also we were able to see certain companies that are involved more than one layer, right? For example, Unity, for example, Microsoft, for example, Google or Apple, right? So these kind of companies, we will see they actually have a stronger competitive edge, I would say, right? As an investor point of view, okay. So as they are able to be in different layer, okay, powering the metaverse, right? So they probably will have more competitive advantage compared to the rest, right? So we actually can break them down into experiences, discovery, right, creator economy, spatial computing, decentralization, human interface, and also infrastructure, right? And each and individual segment are actually playing a very important role in order for metaverse to be holistic, okay, for it to intercooperable. Okay, that's the word, right? So let's focus on these two, whereby let us first discuss in terms of the creator economy, right? Well, in the creator economy itself, they actually it's not new, it's not something that is new, but throughout the decades, right, creators are usually those who have back then, right, a few decades earlier, right, creators are those that actually has resources, right, they have technology, and they have expertise, right, in order for them to, for example, design certain things. They design 3D modeling, right, or they have the engineering skills to put that platform together, right? And they also have the IT expertise to develop that kind of platform, right? In order to design certain 3D format or 3D art piece. Okay, it's just like the Toy Stories, okay, the movie Toy Stories, which was developed or made by Pixar, right? And after that being acquired by Disney, whereby back then when they launched out this movie, it was amazing, right? Whereby no people would imagine 3D cartoon can be as good looking as that, right? But behind the scene, there are actually a lot of effort, a lot of technology being put in, right? For example, some of the companies that involve, like for example, Adobe, Pixar, right? Electronic Arts, all this, and a lot of how to say, immersive games or 3D intensive games, right? Actually came out from that, right? So they are actually the early adopters, whereby they embrace the creator economy, and from there they actually created a lot of good content over there, right? And then slowly it moved into the engineering era, where creative actually constrained by engineering capability, right? So where the engineering capability reached to a plateau, whereby that actually limit the ability for them to create more attractive stuff, more creative content. Okay, but nowadays, with the advancements of technology and also easy to use this kind of technologies, okay, that actually creates an opportunity for mass democratization, whereby this kind of platform, like for example Unity, Unreal, right? They're actually developing this platform to help more and more people, right? Ordinary people just like you and me, right? To have the opportunity to become creator, right? We do not need to have huge resources, or we do not need to even know coding, but we still can use this kind of platform to create things, whereby that actually create or open up the opportunity for more people to become creator, right? To produce more how to say, intuitive content out there for the mass to consume, right? Which is actually very healthy for the development in terms of the metaverse, right? Because just imagine this, right? Why would you want to enter into a metaverse if the metaverse there's no content, there's nothing attractive inside there, right? You probably won't want to go inside. But why people are rushing into the metaverse is that because in there are whole new experience where there are a lot of endless opportunities or a lot of contents they are able to consume, right? Which they are not able to achieve probably in the real life, right? That actually draws them in, right? So this actually become a drive, right? As more creators are produced, right? They actually driving the adoption of metaverse. So that's very, very important. Okay, so Decentraland, I mentioned just now, Decentraland is one of the application, I would say, right, whereby in there you are able to purchase, okay, virtual land. You are able to purchase virtual land in there, right? You own that piece of land, okay, and then you are able to build whatever you want to build on that piece of land, or you want to build certain property and then rent it out, right? Or you want to do you want to build a garden, or you want to build a mall or theme park on that particular virtual land, and ask people to come to your space, right, or to your land, right, enjoy or have different experience, right? For example, in this particular picture over here, right, on that particular piece of land, right, they are conducting, or they are actually doing a certain form of concert, whereby you can see a lot of virtual people around, right, enjoying that particular moment, enjoying that particular experience, right? So that's what actually can happen in Decentraland. And JP Morgan also adopt this idea, whereby they set up their virtual bank in the virtual land, right, called OnSea, right? So with that, there are actually a lot of opportunity apart from what you see in real life, right? Like for example, shops, petrol stations, whatever that you can imagine of, right? They can be built on Decentraland, right? And the moment that you own that piece of land, right, you have that ownership. So when you talk about owning virtual land, a lot of people might think, hey, if I own a piece of virtual land, how can I prove that piece of land belongs to me? So in Decentraland, there's actually plots of land, or they call it parcels. Okay, it's just like when you want to purchase physical land, same thing, right? You have the area of that land, and then how many areas that you're purchasing, right? And how much you're willing to pay. Okay, so in this Decentraland is also similar, whereby they have different plots of land, right? Which able users or buyers in there, right, to acquire those lands. Okay, so when you acquire a parcel, right, it means one small plot of land, a virtual land in that space. Okay, but the moment when you purchase more than one parcel, right, and then you combine them together, right, it becomes an estate. Okay, so that is very, very interesting. So the more area of land that you own, right, the more things that you can do on that piece of land. Okay, so in real life, like for example, if we purchase a physical piece of land, right, so how do we actually prove that piece of land belongs to us? Right, we usually have this so-called grant, okay, or land title, okay, as a proof of ownership, whereby that actually being authorized by a central body. Sure. So like for example, in Singapore is the Singapore Land Authority, whereby when we have this piece of land or this land title, right, that actually shows that piece of land belongs to us. But in the virtual world itself, or in the metaverse itself, there's no central body. Okay, there's no central government body whereby, hey, how do we actually prove that piece of land belongs to us? So that's where different technology comes in, right? Whereby there's one technology called the NFT, right, powered by the Ethereum blockchain, where that actually serves as a so-called certificate. Okay, that particular token actually is non-fungible, whereby you are not able to exchange that with another form, right? It's not like our physical money, whereby $5 you can actually exchange for $5, or 5 pieces of $1. Okay, but in non-fungible token, right, there's only the one and only token that states this piece of land belongs to you, right? You'll never find the second copy, right, which stays the same. Okay, so that actually provides as a proof of ownership of a particular asset, not only virtual land. Okay, and that actually being recorded in the blockchain itself, right? So blockchain is another technology or another topic that we can actually talk about in the future, right? It's very vast as well, right? So very powerful technology over there. Okay, so creator economy in the real world, whereby there are also tech or there are actually a lot of industries that are embracing creator economy. Like for example, in the education or in freelancers, okay, whereby like for example, Udemy, okay, Skillshare or Fiverr. So if you know Fiverr, where this is actually a marketplace or platform where freelancers can actually offer their services online, right, and buyers purchase their services from there as well, right? So that's the industry out there for creator economy, whereby freelancers actually creating or providing creation service for those who are in need. Okay, and for e-commerce as well. So e-commerce actually opened up an opportunity for a lot of small, medium enterprises, right, to start off starting a business or starting a retail without a physical store, right? As long as you are on that platform, you are able to do business with people around the world, okay, or on the platform, right? So game development also the same, whereby a lot of, especially now, a lot of younger generations, they're starting to not only consume game content, right? They not only play games on different platforms, different games, but they also started to develop or create their own game. Like for example, Roblox, right? They are able to create their space or they create the arena, and then they invite their friends over, to play together, right? To have that experience, and they can also have communications in that medium as well, right? That's the reason why they actually draw them in so much, right? So these are the tools or platforms that actually empower this part of creator economy, right? And we are seeing a lot of younger creators, right, start to rise up from because of the convenience of all these platforms, right? That entertainment and news, or for example the videos, right, movies, podcasts, music, all these are actually back then, right? Back then when you want to consume media, we probably need to wait for studios to film a movie, right, film a video, or record an album before we can able to consume, right? But with currently the platforms and the rising creator economy, right, a lot of creators or sole creators, right, without much resources, right, but they have the talent. Okay, so nowadays a lot of times where we see a certain creator, by holding a mobile phone, they are able to generate content already. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of TikTokers out there are doing such thing, right? Which it drives the economy itself, right? The more content that they develop, right, especially quality content, right, that actually drives traffic through that platform, right? And that economy starts there, right? Monetization actually starts there, right? So that actually will also happen, or is actually happening in the metaverse already. Okay, so when you look into creator economy in a vast picture, whereby they're actually segregated into those who are professional, right? Where we see professional YouTubers, where they have different equipments, right? They have even a team to run that particular company that they set up, right, to create all this content, right? But that actually stands up to be a minority in terms of the content creators around the world. Okay, so most of them are actually amateur creator, whereby 40 over million of them actually doing or creating content as a part-time basis, right? As a part-time basis. So from there, it's actually an opportunity whereby when it open up to metaverse itself, right, they do not need to rely on all these resources that require them high expenses, right, to start off with, or high entry barrier. All of them can actually start off, right, very quickly, very simply, with the tools, the platform that available to build the metaverse. Okay, so these are actually those channels that creators are flowing into this space right now. Okay, so when we talk about the market itself in terms of creator economy, right, it's actually huge, tremendous, right? For example, in the education or freelancing industry, whereby Fiverr is actually looking into the possible addressable market of 115 billion. And just for information, Fiverr right now, currently, right, their annual revenue, right, is just in a single digit billion. Okay, so there are actually a lot of room to grow, right, for this kind of company. And apart from that, game development, also huge market, addressable market over there, right? Like Unity, they have 45 billion of addressable market, where Roblox, there are even more, right? Because Roblox, there are a lot of young generation users, right? A lot of, or majority of their users who are in their platform are actually no younger than 13 years old, right? Amazing, huh? Okay, so in e-commerce as well, e-commerce, they actually, and you notice a lot of retail or all these purchases has been done across in a digital form, right? And usually, or even myself, right? That's from my personal experience, whereby if I can get it from e-commerce, right, I wouldn't want to travel purposely out there, right, to just buy that particular item. Okay, so if I can do it online, I'll do it online. Right? So that's the change that we are currently seeing, and a lot of people are actually embracing it, which is a good thing. Okay, so entertainment and news, also there are a lot of money being generated over there, right? The economy is actually spinning larger and larger, whereby YouTube, and the other one, which is TikTok, where I think a lot of not only end users, right, investors should also keep an eye in terms of this particular company's development, whereby the adoption, right, is rising exponentially, right? The growth is exponential. Okay, so moving on next, whereby we're entering into a spatial computing space, whereby this is a bit slightly complicated than creator economy, but in spatial computing, you just imagine the Iron Man movie, right, whereby the computer or the personal assistant that is assisting Tony Stark to complete all those tasks, right? So that's what spatial computing powering behind. So back then, right, when you see this screenshot over here, there are a bunch of codes, okay? So all these codes, back then when designers want to design a 3D object, okay, they probably require IT skills or coding language, right, to write a bunch of code in order for them to have the capability to design a 3D object. But now with a lot of game engine, for example, Unity, Unreal Engine, CryEngine, all this, right, they actually have predefined codes, okay, which contributed by different creators, okay, and then they gather into an resource asset, okay, whereby users like you and me, right, we're just able to use that predefined codes to design the things that we want to design. So that actually make it easier for people to start creating stuff, right? And this actually will drive the creator economy as well, okay? So by mass adoption, in order for mass adoption to occur, right, things have to be very easy, right? In order for people to come in and test new things, right, it should be easy for them to adopt. Okay, it's just like how we actually started off from QWERTY keyboard mobile phones into flat surface touchscreen phones, right? Because it's very easy to adopt, very easy to use, very direct, right? That creates or drive, okay, or accelerate the adoption. So for metaverse development and in terms of building the metaverse, right? So these are the companies that actually driving the growth and also the building blocks of the metaverse itself. So they are doing as much as possible to make creation, okay, of regardless asset or content very easy. Okay, so apart from that, games, like I mentioned just now, game actually is one of the easiest channel for people to tap into metaverse, right? So that we will see a lot of for example, applications that are going into the metaverse, right? They tend to gamify their platform or gamify their service, whereby people, when people use that, people feel very fun, right? Easy to use, right? And they get attached to it, right? So that's the beauty of having it as a game element, whereby the gaming market overall, right, around the world also growing very fast, especially in the mobile game sector, right, where the mobile game sector actually stands up to more than half, okay, of the entire market. And Meta, or formerly known as Facebook, right, they also invest a lot in terms of this initiative, whereby their Reality Lab, okay, actually not only focusing on the hardware, which is the Oculus VR AR goggle, right, they also develop in terms of the software side, whereby they also gonna build a form of metaverse, right? So with that, their revenue still relatively lower, right? Still very small portion compared to their major income stream, which is advertisement, but is how to say very exciting to continue to monitor, whereby Meta has the ability to continue to grow Reality Lab revenue, okay, where they're gonna expand into the metaverse world, right? So last but not least, spatial computing also get into real estate, right? Whereby this company called Metapod, right? Metapod is actually an interesting company where they develop hardware or equipment, right, that doing what we call the dematerialization process, Okay, so they come up with all this hardware whereby they're able to help us capture, okay, what is in the real life, right? Physical stuff, physical properties, and then convert all those using AI, big data technology into a digital form, right? And if some of you have heard about digital twin, okay, mentioned by NVIDIA as well, right? Metapod actually serves as the interface that connects this, the real world and also the digital world, where they convert, right, the physical property into digital, whereby this kind of situation or this kind of use cases, there are actually a lot of things that we are able to explore from this kind of application. Like, for example, interior designing, okay, or for example, if you want to plan in terms of your city planning, okay, you need to have buildings, right? You need to have public facilities, right? You need to have transportation facilities as well. So all this can be captured and then convert into digital form, whereby you are able to do simulations, testing, and planning in the digital world, right? See the result, and after that, implement in the physical real world, whereby it actually can cut down a lot of unnecessary costs, right? And it can also make the entire process even more efficient, right? So that's the spatial computing part, and there are actually a lot more which I would like to share with you, but today we only have 45 minutes to 1 hour, right, for the sharing. But with that, I hope actually throughout this sharing, you actually gain a lot, or at least, right, you able to help you understand better in terms of metaverse, right, and how it actually can relate to us in our real life. But there are actually more information that I would like to look. I would like to actually share with you, right? But however, if there's a chance for you to further understand in terms of the metaverse, I think that would be great, right? So as promised earlier, right, with this, we will actually prepare a special gift for all of you online, right? Regardless you are on a Tiger platform or you're on YouTube Live, right? We actually prepare specially for all of you guys, whereby there's actually a 2 full days of Metaverse Summit, okay, which will cover a lot more in depth in terms of the 7 layers, you know, the blockchain technology, and then crypto, NFTs, all different kinds of topics. And the best part is it's entirely free. Okay, so that's for you, right? So with that, I would like you to mark down the dates, okay, which will be happening on the May 28 to 29, 2 full days, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., right? And it's totally free. Please mark down in your calendar, right? Whereby we'll cover a lot from different speakers around the world who are actually the experts in metaverse, in cryptos, in NFTs, right? So there are actually a lot of learnings on that 2 days itself. Okay, so with that, if you really want to understand in terms of how you can actually take advantage, right, as an investor, you know, from this new adoption or become the early adopter, right, this is the summit that you cannot miss out, right? So in the summit itself, right, you are able to learn how to actually play, you know, experience in the metaverse and learn how to create, right, be a creator in the metaverse. And the best part, again, you are able to go through this process and at the same time earn money in the metaverse. Okay, so if you don't want to miss this big wave, right, please do join us on May 28 to 29. Okay, and in the summit itself, we'll, you know, cover a lot of step-by-steps whereby it actually changed the perspective in terms of how we look into metaverse, right, and the technology behind how it can actually help us as an investor, as an end consumer, right, entrepreneur as well. So there are different ways, different angles that we're going to discuss, right, throughout that 2 days. And we also invited a lot of prominent speakers around the world, whereby we actually get to know them through the Crypto Summit or Crypto Expo held in Dubai a few weeks earlier on, right? There are a lot of prominent names who probably, some of you who are in the space, you probably heard about them, right? Like Louis Pinto, Shi Kai, right? Derek Alexander, Nicole, right? And then Kimiko, Jason, Sophia. So a lot of them are actually having years of experience in terms of different areas. Like for example, some are actually the crypto adopters, and then some are actually very drilling very deep into NFTs, right? Digital assets, this kind of industry expert. So in that summit itself, you're also able to stand a chance to win a complimentary seat into the biggest meta community, whereby this is first ever that we do, right? And you're also able to stand a chance, right, to get your crypto wallet set up, right? Get a kickstart off to the metaverse investing itself. And not only that, we are also able to have the chance to win ourselves our very, very first NFT, right? Something very, very new. And there are a lot of NFT and prizes to be won as well on that 2 days. So up to $50,000 US. So it's going to be very, very exciting. So for those who have marked down your date, you are now able to grab your seat, right, by scanning this QR code and redeem that 2 free days of ticket to our MetaV Summit. Okay, so for those who are, go on to continue to submit and register yourself. And not only that, right? Not only that, we also prepare an additional bonus for you, whereby you're not only able to enjoy and learn from that 2 days, right? We encourage you to spread this out to your friends and family, whereby if your friends and family attend the summit together with you, right, you are able to earn a $3 referral fee as well for each of them who attend. Okay, so it's very good opportunity in terms of getting to know about the new industry, right, and also to start off, right, your investing journey in a new era, a new wave from here. Okay, so with that, so thank you very much for your time. I think just done it very nicely in 1 hour. So thank you very much for thank you Tiger Broker for invitation, and also for those who are online, watching this. I hope you gain certain value from the past 1 hour. So with that, thank you again. My name is Richie. Hope to see you again, and remember to register for the summit, and we see you in the MetaV Summit in May. Thank you. Good night and take care. Goodbye.